Well, does the president have the momentum to get the Democrats back on track, or is 2010 the year the Republicans take Congress back? Joining us now to weigh in, Democratic strategist Sam Bennett, president of the Women's Campaign Forum, and Republican strategist GoPAC Executive Director Dede Scozzafava. We thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Sam, let me start with you first. We've had this Scott Brown phenomenon a couple of weeks back. Seemed to be quite a game changer, especially here on Capitol Hill and the health care battle. But is it possible to read too much into his win, and what can Democrats take from it as they move forward to the fall elections?
Well, just to clarify, my organization's a nonpartisan organization. I myself ran for Congress as a Democrat in 2008. But I think the takeaway from the Coakley race is Brown won in part because he was a moderate Republican. I think Americans are hungry for the middle ground, and that's the middle ground is where the Republicans can take this back. And I would argue, since we're ranked 84th in the world, Shannon, in the number of women in elected office, moderate Republican women might represent the best opportunity Republicans have in this cycle.
And there certainly are a lot of women in key races out this year. David, let me ask you, how does the GOP build on what happened with Scott Brown without maybe putting too many eggs in the basket that they are on the absolute upswing this time around?
Sure. Well, we have to keep talking about those issues that we saw talked about in Virginia and New Jersey and in Massachusetts, which is getting government to be not in the way of people trying to create jobs. And ultimately making sure Republican candidates are talking about things that people care about: the deficit, keeping taxes under control, patient-centered health care. If Republican candidates focus on those things, this year seemed like a 93, and 2010 can seem like a 1994 for us.
All right, Sam, let me ask you about the Tea Party. That group has been very vocal and grown in its voice and its power so much in such a short period of time. They say that they are a threat to both Republicans and Democrats, people who don't get in line with their conservative philosophies. How much of a player do you think they'll be in this election cycle?
Well, again, I think we have to look, Shannon, at the Coakley face-off and Brown face-off to really get a measure of what's going on here. Tea Party or not, Brown took that seat, again, in no small part because he was a middle of the ground. He supports, as the majority of Americans want to see supported, an American's right to choose their own reproductive choices and options. So I think we can look at the Tea Party effect in that particular race, but don't give it too much weight. For example, Dede Scozzafava's race in upstate New York. She was a middle-of-the-road Republican endorsed by the RNC, endorsed by the Republican Party chairs in her district. And then what happened? Right-leaning folks came into that race, put a lot of money in, and she ended up endorsing the Democrat, and that could have been a Republican pickup if they'd stayed with Dede and supported her, but in fact, they lost it to a Democrat who was more middle of the road. I think middle of the road is the answer here more than Tea Party in this election cycle coming up, quite frankly.
All right, David, final question to you. I want to ask you about the fact that Democrats continue to say the economy and jobs are going to be the big winners for them in the fall. Those are their topics. They're talking about something they call a jobs bill. Others say it is another round of stimulus. How do you think that particular issue will play out for them?
Sure. You know, the Democrats love jobs, but they hate the job creators. And then if you look at the policies that the president and Congress continue to look at, it's all things that hurt small business owners. I mean, they're talking about raising the top rate on people who file as S-corps, which are small business owners. It's people who own restaurants. It's people who drive cabs. It's people who are auto repair mechanics. It's all those small business owners who are the center of job creation in America. And the policies they're pursuing aren't going to do things to create jobs. And ultimately, if Republicans are talking about those things that do create jobs, we'll win this November.
All right, November will be very interesting in the lead up as well. We thank you both, Sam and David, for your insights. We'll be watching. Thank you.